that was a great game. So, but we're focused on this one. We have Division 15, the second lowest division. We have two new players, ThDarkFlameM and Lux. Always love to see new faces in the DM crowd. Let's see the map draft. Acray, Hyper Random. All right, Dark Flame, you're already a fan favorite. This draft could go great. We have Golden Swamp. I like that ban, and Savannah. All right, I'm loving this division already. Thames and Lagoon. Okay, maybe we watch more lower division matches if they're gonna be drafting like this. Ban Tao and Watershed, and we get like pretty much a perfect map draft. This is gonna be a fantastic set. I'm already excited. It is cool to see, like, everyone's always interested in how the top players play some of these new maps like Lagoon and Thames and even Acray with the new water. Um, First match I forgot how to play Den. Oh, no spoilers, no spoilers, but yeah, that can be rough. It's Deathmatch is such a weird, like, nothing else in Age is like Deathmatch is the problem. Like RM and Empire Wars are essentially the same thing, just shortened, right? So Hyper Random cut after the same cloth. I think it's so much fun. So the only problem with Hyper Random in Deathmatch is that because the opening is so hectic already, because it's Deathmatch, um, it's sometimes hard to kind of process what the map is and check for any issues or anything like that, or figure stuff out. Like, you're busy on your open, and then also you have to check for like alternate win conditions. You have to check for alternate or 2TC starts. You have to check for a whole bunch of stuff. So it's just it's one of those things that I wish Age of Empires had the StarCraft 2 thing where it like you load into the map and then there's a 5 second window, like a 5 second countdown before the game actually starts. So you have time to like see where your spawn location is, see anything. You can't move the map or anything like that, but you can like get a picture and think about it for a few seconds. So the nice thing about Hyper Random is that especially at the lower divisions where people are a lot less experienced, you essentially you're just like I'm bringing you down to my level of chaos, and then it's who knows what happens, right? So we can talk about the lower division or the bands now. All right, Japanese Gujaras. Gujaras not a great lower div Civ. They're really good at the higher levels, but you have to know which units to use when. Japanese always really strong, but the trebuchets are a bit painful to use sometimes if you're not familiar with them. Vikings are good for Lagoon, but same with the Wu. Huns, the all-star lower division Civ. Dark, if you're not going to be able to be the one to pick Huns, always ban them. Huns, like, learning Huns on, like, learning the Huns open is one of the best things you can do. You will get a lot of free wins that way. Huns are probably one of the strongest civs probably the strongest civ at lower divisions. Just 100%. So, like the chaos of it, yeah, chaos is fun. So we have a couple decent bands here, but nothing too like Gujars and Huns definitely the most notable. Japanese, Vikings, and Malians are liked in certain places, but not as strong as Gujars and Huns. But Gujars are a bit of a low division. Okay, Hun's broken for low division. You do need to practice, mostly because their bonus is no houses. So you just can drop. They don't have treadmill, but you just drop production buildings. You don't have to worry about getting housed or anything. So you can get a really fast rush. If you look up any like DM guide from before the past few years, you're gonna find a lot of like lessons on how to do a Huns open because it used to be Huns wars on like mirror matches and deathmatch, and so everyone played Huns for 20 years. And so they just have one of the best opens at higher levels without treadmill and with every single civ being able to defend against a rush nowadays. It's not they're not as good because if you don't kind of like they do miss out on like siege and a little bit more power near the end, like in the middle to late game. But for the opening, they're a cheat code for lower divisions. I would recommend practicing a few times with them, but it's very easy to get it going. What to do. So we'll see what the bans are. We have Persian's ban. Lux knows what the bans are. Lux has been watching. So Bengalis also a very good DM civ. Mongols and Cumans. Cumans are another really high rush civ. So the Huns and Cumans and the Goths are like the three. Can't you do like these like 2 hours earlier? I could, but I was recovering from last night's pre-workout fiasco, and took a late nap. So I'm sorry, my friend. I will try to do them a bit earlier, but I do kind of like doing these late ones for the Americans, hoping to grab some of the random viewers who are just watching late night. But yeah, this is a Dravidian fan club, and during the day, it's like the Dravidian like werewolf. It's during the day, Dravidian's not so great. At night, Dravidian fan club apparently. Britain's not the best civ, but a very good comfort pick for lower divisions. They are liked. A lot of defensive civs are really strong in lower divisions because if you can just survive the rush, you just make a bunch of longbows and you can slow push. You don't have to worry about map control as much. You just kind of slowly but surely push. Mapuche, not really a ban you want to be making. No one's going to really be picking Mapuche. So, Dravidian fan clubs, yeah. I'm up on USA Times enough. I'll be honest, I'm not the big. I'm still not. This is more of a bit. I'm not much of a Dravidian fan. I am. I'm now a Gajara's believer. Gajara's. They won me one of my games, and Gajara's, Huns, and Mayans are my three babies. Spanish is another top tier civ, and Hindustani. So Hindustanis are decent at the lower divisions, but they are a bit of an RM trap. You feel like they should be better when camels are so good, but they just never really seem to get there. Gajara's RP. Enough on you needing now. Yeah. Killing you doing God's work. I mean, like I said, the moment I added remember to add Shrivamsas, it worked out well for me. Just clap the Gajars with the woo. Was it on like a water map? Because I can understand that. Gajars on water doesn't feel like a play you want to make. Oh, that is something to be noticed. We do have a water map, and half around water map. So we will need to see a water civ. We'll see what the blind picks are. We have a bunch of good. Here, let me actually click through this so we can look at. So the last one was banned was Hindustani. So we have a lot of really good civs. Berbers, Koreans, Celts. Celts are tough to play at lower divisions, so it might be a little bit risky. You don't want to necessarily play the Siege Onager civs. Yeah, Berbers, Bohemians. Bohemians are also kind of any civ that relies on their siege staying alive. I'm okay if it's a Drav fan as long as he promotes OP riders. Elo lock your lobbies. Ooh, Lucky's scared. Lucky's scared of Frost coming in or Otter coming in and just stomping the ground. So yeah, it's Berber's good for lower levels. Like essentially, there's like three kind of. I don't know. Camels are really strong at lower divisions. I think is the key thing. Bohemians are decent, though keeping them alive is tough. Celts are really strong, but you need to keep your siege alive and not kill your own units. Franks is another civ that's really good for learning the open. Franks used to be the old school, like, it was Huns and Franks on Deathmatch all the time. So, very straightforward with Paladins, Halberdiers, and Throwing Axemen. Ethiopians are iffy. Dravidians are probably better for lower divisions than they are for higher. Georgians are really strong because Manaspa are good. Jurchens are one of the best civs, but it is tough to play them because they are a siege civ and you need to know how to use grenadiers and stuff. Koreans are really strong because rocket carts are a lot easier to use than siege, I feel like. Khmer elephant civs are usually really strong. Magyars are good. Any civ that has a very straightforward and powerful kind of plan is good, right? A lot of the siege civs you might want to avoid. Teutons are good because they're very defensive. Vietnamese have good elephants. So it comes down to a lot of preferences. So all right, let's see what the blind picks are. Vietnamese, Ethiopians, Koreans, Malay. I kind of like all these picks. I'm not the biggest fan of the Malay, but I mean, they're not terrible. They do have elephants. They do have some decent water, but Koreans are a much better pick. Vietnamese and I guess Ethiopians are pretty good too, especially with the Acre being picked. The Ethiopian cheese on Acre is very strong if you practice it and learn it. But Lux gets the first pick after blind picks and goes with the Dravidians. So Lucky is going to be rooting for Lux, I'm sure. And Italians. Not the biggest fan of Italians, especially when there's a bunch of other good camel civs left. But Italians, if you're comfortable with Italians, that's fair. Great picks for Div 15. Yeah, the Italians I feel like are a trap. The best thing for Italians is as like a tertiary team for team games where you can spam a bunch of uh Genoese crossbowmen and support elephants, and that's really strong. But Tunes is a great pick. Tunes is a good pick. I like seeing Tunes. Um, it's secretly good on Lagoon. The Italians are. I have to remind myself what the Italians want Navy bonuses, because isn't that all their bonuses are like going up to Imperial Age, but not actually? They have cheaper gunpowder. That's their key thing, and cheaper fishing ships. But they don't have any like actual bonuses in the Imperial Age is a problem. So that's always the problem with Italians. Like they're solid, but they aren't great. Like they don't have anything unique. They just have a good navy. Like they have all their upgrades. No heavy demo though. Genbo are like better fire archers. What's their unique? Yeah, just condos. They don't have unique water. So the missing heavy demo it isn't the biggest deal. But Italians, I feel like are in like they're better. They're better in RM on water than they are in DM. Whether or not they're bad in DM on water is a different story, right? Condos are very strong. Yeah. Genbo actually wrecks ships. Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't realize that Genbos get the bonus against ships, which makes sense. Actually, it doesn't, but Celts. So picking one of the best civs, arguably even number 1 or 2, and it's tough to play the Celts at the lower levels though. Siege is very tough. So we have some snipes. I would say snipe Koreans and the Vietnamese. I think those two are the best civs here. Arguably, Celts would be better than Koreans, but at this level, I'm not 100% confident in Lux's ability to play Celts. So, that's not a good snipe, Dark. I'm sorry. That is a terrible snipe. Lux knows what to snipe. Just look, this is where draft, like, watching a lot of, and he snipes Malay, yeah. This is where Lux gets a huge advantage in the draft because he's watched so many games, that he knows what the good civs are. The problem is I also fell into this trap where I picked a lot of the top tier civs like Koreans and Celts, and then I just am not good enough to play them, and I got 05 in my first set. So, um, yeah. But this just comes with some knowledge. I a tier list would be helpful or something to know that Malay aren't actually that dangerous, but it's not the end of the world, right? It's Div 15. Yeah, it is all about who plays more in their comfort zone. And if Lux doesn't have the siege micro, it is one of those things like if you're letting your opponent kill themselves with siege, that could be a ploy, right? So second half, Turks also very strong, especially on Lagoon. Byzantines, not the worst choice. Very nice comfort pick, but they just don't do a lot in DM, right? Most of my losses have been with S tier civs. Exactly. Like the S tier civs, you have to remember, S tier civs do tend to take a lot of execution. This is true for a lot of games too, especially fighting games too, where S tier characters or civs or anything like that are very difficult to do correctly. And so at the higher levels, it's much different than the lower levels. That's why I was saying like Huns are S tier at the lower levels because they aren't a high execution civ. Um, but once you get to higher levels where there is a lot of execution, Huns fall off dramatically, right? So Sicilians is a good play if you know how to use them. They do have the donjons, which are very strong, but it's tough to do the donjon creep. Saracens also very strong civ, and the Goths. If Lux is practiced, the Goths is going to be interesting. Burgundians don't do anything. The Bohemians are right there. Lux draft is really good. It looks like Lux has watched a lot of streams. Dark, on the other hand, this is an RM draft if I've seen one. So actually, I am going to go very fast through this real quick and just go to the last one and talk about like kind of what some of the options were in this last one, just to kind of go over for Dark's sake. So yeah, we have Berbers here, very strong. Camels and camel archers. Franks, really strong. Georgians, Manaspa, insanely strong. Bohemians are good because you can get a lot of gunpowder and but you have to keep your Hoofnies alive, and that can be tough. I've struggled with that. So I don't think I would necessarily pick the Bohemians at this level. Bulgarians are good for like Acre and for other non-water maps, Um, Jurchin's unpicked. I mean, at lower divisions, Jurchins it's similar to like Celts, right? Like Jurchins in theory in at high levels super strong, should be banned 100% of the time. Jurchins at this level, it's tough to play them properly. I feel like, right? You played deathmatch 2 times and all the times, yeah. And I mean, that's again, it is. I think we had a lot of people who tried to join for the first time, for whatever reason, and it's tough compared to RM of just like jumping in because you do have to actively practice and learn how to do the open and kind of it's a different vibe and everything. But you'll if you put a little bit of effort into it, it becomes much easier. So Georgians should still be behind humans. Oh right, they do have Seppies. So but yeah, Georgians really strong here. Jurchins pretty good. Khmer are pretty solid. It's easy to punish Khmer, but at the lower levels, elephants and ballista elephants kind of play themselves once you get them out on the field. Lithuanians are strong. Same with Magyars. Um, Cav archers and just strong knights and stuff are really good. Maya, Muisca, unfortunately, Poles, Portuguese aren't probably civs you should be picking. Romans are acceptable. I wouldn't pick them. Like they're decent on Acare, but they're kind of weak. Shu, not so much. Wei are okay for Navy. Like Lagoon, if you wanted them, because Luchuans are really strong, or Watershed. Don't pick the Tupi. Tatars are also pretty solid, especially with if you don't have Terrace, I don't think. Um, but Tatars can be really strong with their Cav archers. Slavs are also incredibly strong, similar to how, like I said, the Huns. With Slavs, you can just open with multiple barracks because your production buildings give you pop space. So it just makes the opening a lot smoother. But then it turns into siege, and siege is tough to control, right? So yeah, like it sounds like people like me and Lucky are really good, or like we know what we're saying. The only reason is because we cast a lot of deathmatch. I suck at deathmatch actually. Otter will might disagree, but what's up, Mickey? Who wants a DM cast at 3 in the morning? Right, exactly. It's not 3 in the morning this time. This one's much earlier. This one's an hour and a half earlier than yesterday, 2 hours earlier even. But um, yeah. So, but here was the draft. So Darkflame doing a little bit more of an RM draft. Hopefully, some of these advice. Hopefully, with some more of this advice, it'll or Dark will have a little bit better drafts going forward, and we'll see how the games go. But I'm excited to see if Dark starts put in some practice, taking some advice. Again, it doesn't take much to get way better at the start. So, all right, shall we start? First game is going to be on Fez. So probably, I think we're thinking of Cav Archer civs or C. I guess you don't want it too slow of a civ, but you also don't want something too fast, right? Because it's a long distance start. So like Saracens can be here. Koreans are always good on Fez. Koreans are good at everywhere. We can work a little bit backwards actually. Go Lagoon probably is going to be Koreans for Lux. Dark will probably want Italians on Lagoon or Byzantines. Hyper random. Byzantines might also be good on hyper random, so we could save Italians and Byzantines for those two. Koreans and Dravidians for Lagoon and hyper random would make sense. Mm, Acre, let's figure out the Acre Civ as well. Tunes on Acre are really strong. I don't like Sicilians on Acre because you don't get any bonus. Ethiopians on Acre would make the most sense, but you have to know your rush for that. For Acre, for Lux, Koreans wouldn't be the worst. Um, Turks aren't the worst. Saracens can be really strong on Acre. Stop reading chat. Yeah. So, so yeah, for Fez, I'm gonna guess Celts. Wouldn't be the worst for Celts, yeah. Celts and just Deathball straightforward versus Sicilians on Fez are pretty strong because you can control a lot of space. So I think in an ideal world, I would say something like Celts versus Sicilians here. So, all right, let's get underway. Bananji figured out in doubt, etc. 2Ks on water aren't to be trusted. I'm assuming that's for RM or something, but all right, let's get underway. Welcome to game number 1. We have a Division 15 match between ThDarkFlame. Oh no, ThDarkFlame. What are we doing? Oh no. The farm opening. And LUX, on the other hand, watching the streams, we see the stables being opened for the Turks. House is being built over here. Scout went elsewhere. LUX is going to find the villagers out here. How will Dark recover from here? Barracks immediately. Would have loved to see this a minute ago, but it's the right way to start. Yeah, this is a rough, especially with the Turks having an extra Pierce armor. It makes their scouts a little bit more dangerous to deal with. Scout from ThDarkFlame coming in here to deal with this, and once that barrack goes up, though, they'll have a little bit of leeway, but now the camels are coming in, and luckily Halberdiers will help with this. And they go immediately to the farm. Alright, Dark's going for some stables. Needs to make the Halberdiers, and needs them now. They are produced in here. Isn't the worst, but you need a few more barracks first to protect against this rush. Ethiopian stables aren't great. What are you going to go with here? Like Cavaliers? Or you have your own camels. Never mind. Ethiopian camels. We'll see what the plan is. I mean, the opening from LUX. LUX knows what they're supposed to be doing. So, not the most practiced. But, I mean, you can go much worse than this opening. This is a very solid open for Division 15. Getting the production, 4 ranges, 4 stables, a castle, a chicken castle, some houses. Just needs to figure out what the follow-up is. And it looks like their follow-up is going to be a castle in the middle. We do have this chicken castle kind of weirdly placed, but this is a very nice play from ThDarkFlame. Getting this chicken castle up right away is very good about protecting your rush. Usually you just place the castle like on the outskirts of the TC and then build from the inside. You can kind of clump and everything. These Janissaries should be going through and killing the villagers, but this castle might yet go up. The camels are starting to take out the TC, but once this castle goes up, this should open up the space for ThDarkFlame to maybe produce a little bit. But LUX's opening looks really strong, looks like they practiced, and knows to go after that TC. Villagers trying to hop out to build the castle, but he should be putting them in the TC. And once that TC goes down, it's going to be very tough for ThDarkFlame to come back from this. Castle is up, so it should open up some space. But the castle in the middle is here and making the trebuchets. LUX is practiced. Stone Walls Dark is already ahead of the curve. That is true. Like, I will say, for starting with 4 farms, some of the responses from Dark have been solid. Like, he identified what he needs to do, sends a villager over to go sneak build a TC. Like, this could have gone much worse. He walled in his villagers. It's not the worst start. I mean, actually, it is a pretty bad start. But there are glimmers of hope here. Next games will be closer. Yeah, once you kind of realize that, oh, wait, there's actually strategy. You're making the Shodels, like, at least you're making military, right? It's not going to be great. And we have Cavalier, which I assume is a misclick from LUX. But, yeah, and Dark calls a GG. Pretty free win for LUX, but I think Dark might have realized... Hopefully you took a moment to look at your opponent's base and be like, hey, this is the formation I should be going for. Yeah, sometimes I think the game gave that seed, because I got double audio too. You're getting the game audio, which is weird. I don't know why we would do that. Here, let me try this. It shouldn't make a difference, right? Let's run this back real quick. And make sure, because that is weird actually, now that I... This is the right scene. Where is here? What's up, Gibraltar? Like, I don't think we're getting double audio. We know at the end. Should be GG in a moment. Okay, that time we didn't get it. I don't know why. I think it just randomly decided to give audio from the game. That time felt like it was right. Right? Because this should be the right scene. It's the 1v1 casting 1v1 chat logo. Yeah, that was good. It was just, I don't know, cap trades. Doing things. But that was a easy game one. Hopefully the rest of the games will be a little bit more competitive. Dark Flame needing to remember what kind of game mode he's playing. But we're going to Hyper Random next. We do have the Hyper Random fans in chat, 100%. So Dark Flame having picked Hyper Random is a hero in our hearts. So we had the Turks beating the Ethiopians. Fez being done, so Hyper Random is next. Thanks OBS or thanks Streamlabs. Well, the problem is I'm on a 2-PC setup, so all the audio is routing from my game PC into the capture device, which is going through to my stream PC. So for some reason I was getting two sources of audio from my game PC that were going into my capture card. So it's not OBS's fault, unfortunately. Just get one of everything, my guys. So, Hyper Random. I think Byzantines can be really solid here. Maybe Italians, maybe Burgundians if you have to. One shoe, one monitor, one sock. I have 3 monitors, 3 desktop, or 3 PCs technically. Because I have my stream PC, I have my game PC, and then I have my headless Debian server, which I don't really use for much, but right now I'm using to upload all the VODs so that I can do other stuff without bogging down all my computer's resources. But we use it for, like, you know, random servers. Like if I ever do Minecraft, I have a Minecraft server machine or something. But so, and then I also have an extra like I have too many computer parts and I don't even use that much. Just wish people would taunt when they enter a ranked lobby. It's, I don't know, I never know about that. But anyways, we're talking about Hyper Random. Saracens on Hyper Random would make sense. I think you could go Dravidians or Koreans on Hyper Random. You probably don't want to do Celts in case there's water. Italians or Byzantines, I think, make the most sense on Hyper Random. Burgundians, you're just trying not to play. But when you do coding, if you ever do coding or anything like that, having multiple monitors can help immensely. I don't know, it's helpful for me with my ADHD and neurodivergence to have, like, the stuff segmented. So even if it is, like, the same setup and everything, having it in different monitors is just a great dividing in my head that helps immensely. So because I have to, like, alt tab and switch between screens, things get messed up. So I was gonna say, yeah, you have more than one lighter. How many lighters do you got, my friend? So all right, I think we go into next game. I think the plan here should be something like some hybrid civilization, Dravidians or Saracens against Italians or Byzantines. So let's get underway. And hopefully Dark Flame can claw his way back and have a little better showing here. Oh, that's the wrong thing. We're going here. Welcome to game number 2. We have a Fight Club generation with a lot of resources on here. 94k gold on this map. We have these little odd sides, but we've had some rough, and there's some hills right in front of the map, the base for Dark Flame. But Dark Flame has gone Byzantines, and we have a Goth spam. And unfortunately, this is a very, very good Goth spam map because they're so close. And our heroes is Liu Bei. He has some 2 swords. He has 19 attack and 5 pierce armor. Gonna be very nice to raid. Alright, so much better opening. But you are building your buildings a little too far out here. You want them right next to your TC in case this hero comes in. That way you can hop back into the TC. A little bit too far out, but this is a much better opening. Making the paladins already. Hero's going to be getting some good engagements. Not even worth trying to micro the 1v1. Paladin going back to help out here. And now you have to deal with the Goth spam. That is the problem, is that Goths are going to be very tough. All the champions are going back. So, I mean, the Huskarl Goth spam is delayed. I don't know if that's a full retreat or what the plan is. So, the castle on the hill, I do like this. However, this is far too early for this. The Goths, especially against the Goths. The Goths are going to be coming in. Look at how much military they have. If this castle is right next to the TC, it is so much safer. And now we have the hero coming in on the side. The Paladin's doing a pretty good job here. No Halberdiers yet for the Goths. But hopefully they get added soon. There come the Halberdiers. And Liu Bei going to deny this castle. Paladins are there to help defend, but the Liu Bei is going to get some nice attacks off. Take out 1 villager. And I mean, that Liu Bei has a lot of HP, a lot of attack, and a lot of armor. And these villagers, this is why you want the villagers to be near the TC. So, I like the idea, like the plan. Just a little bit better execution, but that's what comes with learning. And the Goth spam has delayed, but I mean, they have a massive army coming forward. We'll see if any siege comes forward with it. They're making some castles, but the Paladin count isn't very high. 4 stables is good, but against the Goths, you kind of need a bit more. And once you have some Halberdiers mixed in, it's going to be tough. Byzantines, I don't really know what the Byzantines can do against the Goths. Like, do you go your own champions? I mean, they're missing iron casting. Paladins seem like a fine play here. Fighting under the castle is a good idea. So very nice here. Catas save us? Yeah, Cataphracts. That's right. Cataphracts here. First castle, 1 tile away from the TC for sure. Yeah, so it's good to keep. Catas save us. Kind of coaching Flame right now. Let's go Goss and let's go my sub Dumpy. I mean, that's the thing, is that I know Lux was excited to have their games cast. So I'm hoping that they'll watch the VOD. And we're kind of focusing on Dark because he is in chat, or they are in chat. But, I mean, Lux looks really strong. The main problem here is that Lux, you just got to flood all your infantry into the base right at the start. Goths cannot delay for a mass army. Usually this would be a good opening for any other civilization, like massing up your army and then rushing in. But you need to be aggressive with the Goths. You need the Goths to go right in, kill the villagers, kill the TC, and not allow the castle to go up, right? So, but I mean, this expansion, this base and everything looks really good for Lux. I think there's a lot less to talk about for Lux currently, so he did Chicken Castle. It was a delayed Chicken Castle, but we got there eventually, yeah. Like, that's the thing, is Dark has all these little pieces that he knows what to do here and there. Once he puts them together and practices the opening, ooh, he's gonna look good. Bomber cannons are here. And the Paladin's going for some raids, trying to kill the castle foundations, which, like, actually could work with how many Paladins there are here. Sending someone to attack the foundations, and they're gonna probably break through. Villagers trying to repair it. No, they're gonna break through. This castle's gonna get denied. What a find from Dark. Going and raiding with the Paladins. Kill these villagers. Don't lose too many Paladins. It's not worth it. Pull your Paladins away, Dark. No, it was so good. Probably focusing a little bit on the middle as the Cataphracts start storming in, and now the Paladins get pulled away. So it was a nice little raid. Need to make sure to keep your Paladins alive until they're closer to the army. And now we're looking pretty good. Siege is here. Need to see a little bit more army out of Darkflame, but I mean, it's hard to match the Goth spam. But so far, it's looking strong. Paladins and Cataphracts are looking good. Look, Dark is low on resources. This is one of those things I will always say for beginners. Farm eco is good. The problem is you have 12k food in the bank. You should be taking all your villagers and sending them directly onto gold and just spamming your gold units and then add farms later. But now the Goths are on the back foot. We have Cataphracts and Paladins marching forward. We have a lot of bombard cannons. They're going to get a lot of value here. This is looking like a very good fight from Darkflame. This is looking like Darkflame has survived the opening rush of the Goths, which wasn't very opening. And yeah, more TCs. You can never have too many TCs in Deathmatch. I mean, you can always, but, you know, you get my point. Because you can look here, like you can see Lux has already 4 TCs up and is adding a few more on resources. So the eco of Lux is going to explode shortly. The problem is Darkflame's knocking at the front door with a lot of bombard cannons. And, I mean, those castles are going to start falling. The production's going to start being problematic. And Cataphracts and Paladins, so long as you keep making units, are very tough. And you even have a hero in the middle, generating some value here. Universities and Wonders. Oh, yes. Well, not the Wonder, but people will do University Walls because it's a 4-tile building, right? Like, there is purpose behind it. You got a little bit of dodgeball going on, which I don't even know if you need to contest as much, simply because you are winning this fight here with all your cavalry. They can go and snipe all the siege for you, which they're about to go do. So cleaning up this little excursion over here, and Darkflame looks like he's in the driver's seat, but you can see now that eco is starting to be a bit of a problem. Lux has all those TCs pumping out villagers faster than Darkflame, who only has a few queued up. Onagers need to be sniped, and there's so many halberdiers now that the Cataphracts aren't masked up, and they got chewed through fighting under a castle. And unfortunately, a lot of units have gone down for Dark, so he's a little bit behind. The gold is an issue. Getting some more villagers onto gold is definitely necessary. What are the RM elos? It's a good question. Or did Darkflame pay Michi? I don't think so. Are these not RM elos, or are they Deathmatch elos? I thought those were RM elos. I could be wrong, though. DM elos on rec? Oh, okay. So those are just post DM ranked lobbies from tournament matches. I don't know. I'll look the elos up after this. Cataphracts trying to engage here. I do think straight Cataphracts isn't necessarily to play against Mass Halberdier. I mean, it is coming out on top. Some good engagements here. You need to make sure not to lose your bombard cannons. Again, that's kind of why it's maybe not worth playing dodgeball here and just, you know, letting your Cataphracts kind of wreak havoc here. You have a side castle. There's a lot of resources over here. So Lux doing a good job of trying to spread out on this map. Big gold pile, too. And Dark's a little slower to get his eco rolling. So you can see really the benefit of all those TCs. Lux already up to 100 villagers. $500% improvement. Yeah. Well, so apparently, Dark said he forgot that it was deathmatch for the first game. So that might have been a little bit. Even repairing the bombard cannon. I like this. But yeah, Dark's playing this much better. I think, again, the missing component here is the extra TCs. He only has 1 extra TC. Instead of mining camps, especially this early, if you just dropped 2 extra TCs here, you'd be pumping out villagers left and right. Right? So, more barracks is always good. Got to get your pop space up, though. You can see Lux already at 210 pop space. Played some Castle of Blood. Okay, I'm not too familiar with that, but I assume that's something relevant. Halberdiers as a meat shield isn't the worst idea. I don't really know if that's what I'd go with. But, I mean, they are a unit to spend resources on. I think Hussars here, even into the Halberdiers, you just send the Hussars in for raids. So, that's CVA. Ah, right. These are RM elos. Looked it up. Okay, that's what I thought. Because I've seen, like, some of the other players have, like, 2k elos. No one in DM has 2k elos. So, I don't think Captrage understands that DM has separate elos. So, this is a big push. Darkflame masked up his Cataphracts, and he's going in. Only 3 bombard cannons is a bit low. Some Trebs would be nice, even as nice as bombard cannons are. Trebs still tend to do a little bit better at taking down buildings, with Cataphracts running through the base, and Lux is running out of military, losing a lot of important units. And, so long as Dark doesn't lose all of his military to castles and TCs, he should be able to take this one home. Cataphracts getting some good raids. We need a little bit more siege. Only 3 bomber cannons for now isn't enough. We have a monk going forward. Maybe for some heals. Maybe for some redemption conversions. Alright. I mean, the monk doesn't really get much done, but... And this is a little bit of a problem. Oh, we do have Cataphracts in the woodline. Darkflame spreading out his forces, looking really good here. Killing a lot of villagers. And now the siege just needs to actually participate. We have some more units in the back. Need to send them forward to help out with the forces. But Lux is very idled right now. We have a lot of idle eco. And the Cataphracts taking out A lot of buildings, though they are dying to the castle. Cataphracts did get killed or redirected from up there. But a lot of damage is being done. You need to take out these castles. I do like Lux spreading out this way, though. Cat is kind of cheating versus Goths. Cameron and Stray King know the answer. That's true. And now they're taking out a castle. We like to see it. Darkflame is getting up there in eco. Starting to be a little bit better off. But, you know, adding in... What is this? House. Still only 2 TCs, so a bit more TCs would be good. But also just throwing away a bunch of units to this castle. This castle has 16 kills. Unforced error. There's a lot to focus on, I'm sure, but you should probably take out this castle first with your siege, or even that one as well. And you're just losing a lot of units that don't really need to be dying. Lux needs to queue military? Yeah. I mean, Lux is rough on wood. The woodline raids were huge, and Lux doesn't have a lot of food because of all the raiding, and the idle TCs is not a good deal. And we do have Trebs, so Dark adding some Trebs. I love to see that. And Lux doing really well at expanding over to this area, especially with how much resources are over here, and going for Huskarl raids. This is a very big thing to do if you are losing your base and being overwhelmed in the middle. Oftentimes, sending some side raids can really bring you back into the game. And these Huskarls are going to be so deadly. There's not a lot of in defense. I mean, granted, there's not a lot of eco, but castles are a little bit out of position here. And they're going to be able to clean up some of these Huskarls, but it's going to be tough. Might need to send some units back. And Huskarl snipe a Treb as well. Need to make sure that Dark doesn't lose too much military, which has, I mean, this castle has 45 kills on it. That is a lot of units to lose to a castle, but now there's no castle protecting the main base. Huskarls are into the base, taking out a TC, but this castle will do a decent job of protecting it. And some of the Halberdiers are getting pulled back, which might not be the most damaging against Huskarls, but will at least help delay the raids a little bit, maybe. And we have a very aggressive castle from over here, as this kind of Lux trying to get full map control. It's a nice little back eco over here. Huskarl raids are pretty problematic. Not a lot of reaction from Darkflame. But once that goes down, Darkflame should be sitting pretty fine. Lux still running low on military. Has the wood, has the gold. Dumpy playing generally better, Flame learning, and Dumpy now knowing what to do versus Katas. Yeah. I mean, Katas are just really strong. I mean, Dark did manage to mass up the army. Pop space is an issue, so you want to be able to get to 200 pop because you have all the production and everything. Treb is under the castle, but it should be fine. Castle should go down. But yeah, if you can get in, we see some houses being added. There we go, we like to see it. But usually you just don't want to wait to hit the pop caps. Just hit to 200 right at the start of the game and you'll be fine. Now Lux is losing buildings left and right, which is fine, but these Katas could be raiding the economy, could be trying to kill, could be protecting your siege. And Lux is doing a good job of spreading out across the map. Yeah, Dumpy's looking really strong for being in such a bad position. It's a civ loss? Yeah. The biggest problem was just Dumpy didn't do the aggressive rush. I do like walling in your villager. That is very smart, especially against the Goths who don't really use any ranged units. But once this castle goes down, it's going to be tough for Lux to really secure anything on that side. But Dumpy is doing pretty well here. Halberdier is going to find some eco, and they're going to find out there's an expansion over here. Dark can't claim he's only played CBA. This is definitely him playing more than just CBA. He's got to have played some RM. This looks pretty solid. There's a lot to improve for sure. But, I mean, you make units. And Darkflame takes his first game in Tarnished Deathmatch. I love to see it. Very well played from Darkflame. There's some general skill. Absolutely. He massed up his army. He protected his trebs. He took good fights. He made sure to take out the castles. Like, the DM aspect will come with time and practice, but there is a good foundation here. Same for both players. Lux had the worst match, or had the civ loss, you could argue, but like Lux's open, besides delaying the Goth rush, was really strong. So GG's. Next map is going to be Lagoon. You play like 1500 doing DM first time. Yeah, that is true. There are a lot of notably good habits. Like, it is easy to notice a lot of good habits from Dark's gameplay. Um, like massing up his army, rally pointing in a safe spot, not trickle trebbing. Um, these two will be playing at Div 11 level easily next season. To keep playing, absolutely. Yeah, like again, it is the biggest glaring issue you have, Dark, is lack of experience. Like, I think, like, we're not trying to be mean or anything, but that is so clearly, once you start getting some experience in here, start doing a little bit of practice, you're gonna explode in skill. Like, all the foundations are there. So, um, yeah, it's if you practice a little bit, it's gonna look really good because you have a lot of the foundations for what, like, the core DM skills of, which are massing your army and taking favorable fights. It's a good start. It is a very good start. So that was Byzantines beating the Goths. Again, I think Lux could have probably won that game had he gone just full on Huskarl spam at the start into the base, but he held back and tried to mass up first, which is an easy mistake to make at the lower divisions because you're not really too sure when you should rush versus like mass up your army. So, understandable. But next map is going to be Lagoon. So we got some water going on. I expect Dravidians or the Koreans versus Italians or I don't think Burgundians. Like, what did Burgundians even do? Like, I never see them in DM. They get the early Cavalier and they have Coustiers and Flemish. Yeah. Do they even have? They don't have Shipwright or Dry Dock, so you're not playing Burgundians ever. Should you rush? Always. True. But there's like rushing and then having an extra, like, massing up your army. The problem is there was zero rush at the start for Lux. When with the Goths, you're supposed to be 100% rush. So, practice time then. Don't listen to Otter. You definitely need it. Everyone needs practice. I need to practice. But yeah, no, you're looking good. So, all right, Lagoon. I'm thinking it's going to be. Well, hold on. Where would you play Koreans otherwise? Yeah, you know what? Koreans would make sense. Like turtle ships. Why not? Better than Dravidians. Well, actually, I don't know. What wins, turtle ships or Thracidies? Yeah, the difference between game one is magical. I'm excited to see how the rest of the set goes, because it'll be interesting to see if, hopefully not, but if that Civ win was masking some other issues, right? Like, if Lux plays where he has a better Civ matchup, maybe Darkflame isn't able to mass up his military quite as well, but yeah, treadmill, no treadmill, it beats everything. Yeah. Greens are busted on Accuray if you're okay making rocket carts. True. And war wagons are just a pain to deal with. So, all right, let's get underway. We have game number 3. Welcome to the matchup of Division 15 that is all tied up. We have Darkflame playing the Italians with a pretty solid opening. The going ranges first is not the play you want to make. We have Lux on the Koreans going for barracks first and then into docks. Much more standard opening. Yeah, Italians, because you're not even trying to make regular archers. You're trying to make, I mean, you could be going for hand cannons, but like, you want to be making we're seeing hand cannons into the Koreans. I mean, yeah, Genbos would make sense. Docks would make sense. This could be a situation of you being like me, Darkflame, where I fucking detest hybrid terrain. So, I don't know. This might be a quick one. Do we have turtles coming out? Yeah. Turtles and champions. Oof. This is going to be tough. Mojito map take? Absolutely. I do not like hybrid terrain. I was adamant from day one. I don't like hybrid terrain maps. So, now the docks do come up. A little bit late. Making defensive castles. I do like the castles. Again, We want them next to the TC, so you're not having to run your villagers away. But once you start getting those up and you can start using them to control space is a different story. The champion rush from Lux, I'm not the biggest fan of. Really, you just need to send your turtles forward. And, I mean, in this case, you're going to win. Play all 53 Bog Aftermath? No! One player enjoys Bog Aftermath, one player doesn't. Ignoring everything else. I would suffer. That sounds like a great time for Otter. It is interesting terrain. I just hate playing. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I like having some hybrid terrain, but no. So now the turtles are gonna show up. We have a lot of gunpowder. Problem is, I think the gunpowder is gonna just have to get melted by the turtles. Yeah, 53 AZ wins. That just takes a long time. I'll just forfeit 53 times right now. There you go. You have the win. You 53 0'd me on Bog Aftermath. All 53 DQs. Yeah, like, my main point is I don't like maps that have that, like, everything is pretty much hybrid terrain. Like, you could argue, yeah, there's water in the middle, which is fine, but if this wasn't all hybrid terrain, I'd like it more. It's just, when the map is mostly hybrid terrain, I'm not a fan of it. So, full water shit, full land is known. True. And now the turtle is going to cause some problems, just melting the gunpowder. Unsure what we're going for with the Italians. We have some fires and we have some galleons. They'll do okay, but the number of turtles is masked up. We have cannon gallons being mixed in. Lux taking a page out of what to do and should be doing pretty well. Turtles in the middle as well, providing some extra value, though a bit too much are made. This is one of the problems with this map, is people will oftentimes queue up too much in the middle and then just kind of sit there not doing much. In this case, not that big of a deal, though we are fighting underneath the castle. The castle gonna do a lot of shot. Heated shot being researched for free for every civ is tough. I assume they get heated shot, right? Yeah. So losing a lot of turtle ships and not taking out the castle, which is a bit of a mistake. So I mean, this is a window for ThDarkFlame to come back. Lux uses all of his resources on these turtles that die to a castle. Castle's up to 7 turtle ship kills, and only now starting to target the castle. But I mean, you can look at Lux's base. Lux's base spreading out pretty well, getting those TCs up, getting the production. Could see some fish in the middle especially, but currently going to be getting pushed back. That is the problem, fighting underneath the castle. If he had just taken out that castle with all the turtles and cannon galleons, he'd be in a good spot. But ThDarkFlame has masked up his fire ships and took the fight that he was given, and now he can cause some problems. He survived on the other side, though the cannon galleons in the middle are going to be a pain. Need some navy over here to deal with this. Still losing some gunpowder. We have skirmishers on Lagoon. Don't make skirmishers. Otter will throw a fit, which is kind of understandable. Fire's coming in over here. Otters are just, or not otters, skirmishers are just not really a thing you want to be doing. Dumpy's doing well, except for fighting under that castle. Macro's crazy. Yeah, okay, that better make sense. Yeah. Dumpy's macro is stellar. I think that is the part that Lux has benefited the most from watching all these top games, is knowing how to do the open and kind of expand out of it. So that is something at least to note for ThDarkFlame as well. You want to be expanding like this, and which, I mean, isn't the worst. The farm space isn't the best idea, but getting some more TCs up, getting some castles, getting some more buildings. But yeah, Lux's macro is stellar. Now the fast fire is trying to take out a castle. This is why you need some cannon galleons. Italians do get cannon galleons, right? Yeah. Fast fires are going to come forward, and they're going to take out a lot of units here. But they are fighting underneath 2 castles against war wagons and a turtle, so they are going to retreat. And unfortunately, that is going to lose a lot of these fires. So not the best engagement, but you got a big fight on this top side as well. Flame will do great after Lydic. Yeah, it is a lot. And especially one of the biggest problems, too, is hybrid terrain at lower divisions is super hard to know what to do on, right? Like, you can argue that land versus full land or full water are boring and known or shit, but, like, it is, for a newer player, a lot less ambiguous what you should be doing, where you should be doing it, how you should be controlling your units, because everyone's much more familiar with land. So, on this just make army, yeah, I mean, the answer to everything is always just make army. Just not skirmishers. Because they die pretty bad. Genoese crossbowmen would be really strong here. Fires are chasing down, and just no cannon gallons. If we had some siege, that's the other thing, is add siege when you're in a good position. So, if you had some siege here, or like some cannon galleons to range these buildings, it'd be looking pretty good. Also, fight with all your ships, not just a few of them. There's some pushing going on this side. The gunpowder going to do decently against these war wagons who are focused on this fire galley. So gunpowder doing a lot of damage with the castle support. And that gets cleaned up, and that brings him in range of the cannon galleon. No! And now we see the cannon galleons from ThDarkFlame. But he's brought them too close to the turtles. Don't let them die to the turtles. A little bit of micro going on here. And he's going to be able to start picking away at some of these turtles. He has a high ground. The Italians 15 range against, yeah, they both have 15, but once these cannon galleons start getting some kills and cleaning up this area, it's going to be a little bit cleaner. But yeah, Lux's macro is stellar here. Making more production buildings too. Granted, these are ranges, so I don't really know what he's going with ranges for. Please tell me it's not for his own skirms. What are you making the ranges for? Dumpy. What's gonna come out of these? We have a monk grabbing some relics. Big fight on the top side. Turtles, again, very tough. We have skirmishers from Dumpy. Otter, your chat viewer. He's making skirms. Korean skirmishers against the Italians to deal with the hand cannon spam. And there's a Genoese crossbowman. Unfortunately, Lux has already countered the Genoese crossbowman with his skirmishers. The mind games. Excellent play. Skirms on a hybrid. We're gonna have some skirm wars. Turtles engaging onto the fire ships. Fire ships a little bit reluctant to attack. Decent turtle micro. Turtles also micro way too well for how good they are, I feel like. If they had a little bit more of a delay on their attack for like the wind-up, it'd be a different story. These fires are going... There's enough fires here that they should be able to melt them pretty well. And actually, that's a lot of turtles and good micro. And it's tough for Dark to know what to do here. We have Lux slowly pushing on the side, gaining control of all the resources. And this is a slower... Don't they outrange the castle? The turtles? Turtles have 9 range. Castles have 12. Or 11. So turtles are, like, they can, in large numbers, they can take out a castle. But usually you want to have a few cannon galleons to deal with the castles. They're better at dealing with non-castles. So, like, docks and other stuff like that. And unfortunately, this is a big army from Lux, fully popped out. This is the problem, is you gotta have that military. You have 14k food, but no gold. Eco is gonna be a problem. Fire's going in and landing a lot of kills. But unfortunately, the turtle's gonna clean them all up. Skirm's helping out a little bit. Not the most. But delays the push just a second. Skirms and hand cannons on water are something. That's I play Italians on land maps and don't know how to do it on hybrid, which is totally fair. It's a tough story for sure. Has some raids over here. We have more docks. I do like the extra docks going up. Helps really pump out production. The problem is you need the eco to support the docks. And again, you need more villagers, so only 2 TCs being made. You go up to 7 and you'd be at 121 vills like Lux. This is where Lux macro really shines. This has been played well by Dark. Yeah, absolutely. He's taking good fights. He's microing down. And the cannon galleon, using the cannon galleon's range, the fight, taking good fights with the fires as good as he can with making sure they're masked up. And you know, it's hard to make significant changes between game 1 and 2, but between sets 1 and 2, if he takes notes on all these things we're saying, he's gonna look like a different player. So, gunpowder coming in. I'm not too sure how gunpowder is going to do against ships. I mean, he takes out a cannon galleon, and they're just gonna land a bunch of shots from the turtles and the skirmishers as well. Oof, all the gunpowder eviscerated, just gone in an instant. Skirm's OP, absolutely. Otter in shambles. Lux's Skirm's the MVP of this match, despite Otter's pleas. It's gonna be a slow push. Fire's getting some good engagements here. The problem is just too many turtles. They just died. The Skirms? Yeah, but they beat the hand cannons. Now here come the Skirms of Darkflame. How do they fare? Into the turtles. I think they got a kill. They have 2 kills. Monk was trying to get a conversion on a Skirm, I think. That's not going too great for these Skirms. Turtles rolling forward. Fire's trying to engage. I mean, Lux isn't really reinforcing his navy. He has all these resources, but he's just pumping out Skirms and not making more navy. So, if Dark gets a clear up here, I mean, it's going to be hard for Lux to continue producing and pushing. I mean, 20 turtles is a big deal, but a lot of those are trapped in the middle. When in doubt, skirm it out, apparently. But yeah, the cannon galleons, the splash damage is so good against these skirms. And Castle's going to continue to get a few more kills, though the cannon galleon on the lower level is starting to range. Okay, so we see some more turtle ships queued up by Lux. Yeah, Lux just needed to add some more ships. And finally going for oysters. I love this from Lux. Fishing ships are a very easy thing to add. And you can get access to all this gold in the middle. Even some fish as well. So you don't have to worry about when you have control of the middle pond. It's hard for them to raid it. So Lux just needs to delete the skirms. He needs a pop space. True. He just needed to queue up more ships. But Lux takes a game 2. Definitely a little bit tough for Darkflame there. Not really knowing how to do hybrid terrain, which is fair. But Lux played that one decently well. The macro was stellar from Lux. So I think that's something that I think a lot of players can aspire to try to be like, is macroing up to this level. And it'll allow you to really take good fights in the middle to late game. And even if like Darkflame were to start pushing, there's so much to push through by the time that he gets to an important part of the base. Lux would be able to rebuild his army. So well done from Lux, getting a nice win on his home map. Next up is going to be Thames, however you want to pronounce it. There are many pronunciations. All of them are correct, and none of them are. Genitor erasure? I mean, maybe. Alright, so that was the Koreans winning against the Italians. I don't think there was much... I mean, Koreans on Lagoon are just so terrifying, right? Both? Oh, well played both. Me out. Okay. Good night, Otter. Go to sleep. Dream of skirms on hybrid terrain. Your favorite unit on your favorite terrain. Truly the greatest combination of units and terrain there is in AoE 2. Next up is Thames, though. Otter leaving before the Dravidians. That's true. Both players impressed? Absolutely. I love to see, especially because, like, knowing that Lux is watching all the time and, like, learning, asking questions and everything, and Dark's even here learning, it's going to get so much better. Like, the fact that this is our second lowest div is such a good sign. Because I remember last TDM, the lowest div, like, they still looked decent, but I don't think they were this strong. Like, they looked like they just kind of were playing and trying their best. No one really had any sort of build openings. But this looks like really solid. Smurfs, absolutely, right? So we have Thames. Thames and Ackeray remaining. So let's work reverse. Acre is probably going to be Saracens. So I could see the Celts here and just not play Dravidians. Teutons probably for Acre, so Sicilians would make sense here. Not the Burgundians, please. Dravidians unique unit sucks. You're my swordsman. They're not I'd rather have the Saracens or the Celts on that. I think. I'm sorry, Lucky. I know this is supposed to be a safe space for Dravidian fans, but Saracens and Celts are just better than Dravidians. I think. I'm sorry. And the unique unit of Saracens arguably better. Celts unique unit doesn't really matter, similar to the Dravidians. So yeah, truly alone. That's fair. They got Thracidies. On Acre, I don't think Thracidies are great on Acre. Like, they can help kind of soak up damage in the middle, but you want Candy Galleons in the middle. Though I think there is some space to be explored about docking underneath one of your castles and trying to control some more water. Again, I don't think people are playing the water on Acre too much right now, and I think that's something that needs to be explored now that there's the water running fully through the middle. So, Acre and Thames, both water maps. More than not, I will say. I don't think anyone's really using the water to the fullest extent on either of them. We see it a bit more on Thames, but definitely could see some more water play. They just try water. If it fails, they give up. Yeah, a bit of that. But let's get into game number 4. Let me just drink a little bit of water first. Biggest rise of the tournament is we see more water play on Thames and Acre. Yeah, we were hoping that there'd be more on the water. I think people just haven't really... The problem with Acre, I found, is that even though Candy Galleons are now stronger, usually if you're in the position to make Candy Galleons on Acre, you're kind of already winning. Like, Acre feels even more this season, more snowball-y than in past seasons. Because it's just a fight in the middle, and you win the fight in the middle, it's so hard to kind of push out of that. But I don't know. I think there's still some room to explore. The problem with Thames is that it's just you can get near your opponent's base. So it makes sense that you can kind of be cheeky with the water. Whereas on Acre, you're not really destroying a lot of your opponent's base. It's more to try to fight in the middle with army. So, all right, let's get into game number 4 on Thames. And it is going to be a game 4 between Dark and Lux. The Celts playing the Teutons, so not saving the Teutons for Acre. And we see the house, the stable, and a house. That is correct. Again, next to the TC would be better. The opening from Lux looking pretty well practiced. Stable into house, into barracks. Already making the paladins. Celt paladins being played. I mean, if you're going to rush your opponent, you may as well. Just don't want to overmake paladins because the Celt paladins are not good. They were missing bloodlines. They're missing their last armor. Scout coming forward, though. Paladin should do well against protecting it. But usually, if you're making paladins, you want to send them forward. Instead, we have the paladins from the Teutons, which are very strong, but also very slow. So nice having the villager hop into the TC, but you can see kind of why that would be nice to have that closer to the TC. And all the production buildings a little bit far away, and you need a few more production buildings before this many houses, because you're going to have plenty of pop space, but nothing really producing. So, you want usually one villager building each stable. You don't need to have 4 on 1. Even though it's not the worst idea, but you can I'd rather have 4 stables going up at the same time than 1 going up. So it's diminishing returns, right? So now we have some paladin play. The Celt paladins versus Teutons. Lux getting a little bit pop capped here. And this is one of the risks of going with a chicken castle, is that it can delay your pop space quite a bit. So you have villagers building this instead of houses, but once the castle goes up, it should open up a good amount of pop space. You have a siege workshop up as well. Will Lux add siege? And who's going to try to gain control of the middle area? Paladin's trying to fight here. A couple kills for Lux, finding the villagers trying to build a castle. Does get a nice couple kills, but the Paladins of the Teutons are very strong, and that castle will go up. And we do see 2 more TCs going up. So Lux, again, macro from Lux, very strong. Too many Celt Paladins? Yeah, we're making way too many. That is a terrifying number of Celt Paladins. And not in a good way. But we do have some nice raids. I mean, there is something to be said about if you identify your opponent is playing very open like this, you could try to get cheesy wins off of Paladins rushing in. The problem is you need to get some kills. And I mean, he's not really finding the kills. You have villagers in the castle, and the Paladins will get chased down. I mean, Celts do get... They do get Husbandry, whereas Teutons do not, right? So, the Celt Paladins can outrun the Teuton Paladins, but not much. Neither barracks could either, because who plays 90 Celt Paladins? That is true. It is one of those mental mind games that could catch you off guard, but it's not the greatest mind game, right? Celt Halberdiers we like to see, but there's a lot of Teuton Paladins. The Teutons have the extra armor. 7 melee armor is quite a lot. So they should do pretty well in this game. There's a lot of military here, but it is definitely going in the favor of Darkflame. Dark looking very strong here. I mean, a lot of farms, once again, not something you need right away. You have 9k food. You need to send all your villagers onto gold. Don't need a mining camp. You have your TC right there. And we do see Lux going for the resources in the middle. Dark, not the most experienced at trying to do quick expansions for map control. Also, neither player is sending a unit up for the Royal Albert Hall. In case you don't know, if you send a unit up here and capture this, it gives you an extra 25 pop space. Big fight in the middle. Now that we see more and more Celt Halberdiers, it's going to start going worse and worse for those Paladins. And now we have Celt Siege landing some nice shots. You need to see the Teutons try to snipe this, but that Celt Siege getting a lot of kills, doing a lot of damage, and turning the tides of the battle. And now Darkflame's looking a little bit weak here. I mean, he's actually going to win this fight. ETKs are so strong. Only one Siege Onager is here. And killing probably more of his own units, honestly. But that will allow the Celts to win this fight and start raiding with some woes. Paladins coming in from the south, going to go try to snipe the Siege Onagers. If they go and fight the Siege Onagers, it'll kill them. They're getting drawn away by those Paladins. Nice Siege micro from Lux, getting some nice shots onto these Paladins. Of course, trying to micro against the Teuton Paladins is a lot easier, since they are so slow. But sniping the Celt Siege is nice, figuring out where they're going, and we do see Darkflame going for a middle castle as well, so trying to gain control of some area on the resources. We'd love to see it. Dark's looking really strong, and I hope he goes for a TC in the middle instead of a mining camp. Come on, Dark, I believe in you. TC, yes, we got a TC in the middle. Let's go. Both playing map objectives, yes. Though the north side, it does not exist, right? We have water being played. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Dark, you can't do stone walls. You're not allowed to stonewall. Hopefully it doesn't come into play, but you can't stonewall. You can only use it for quick walls. So, we'll see what happens here. I mean, the Candy Galleon here is going to do pretty well about dealing with this, but we might have to remind some of the lower divs. No worries. I mean, it is a little bit of worries, but it's something hard to remember, right? We'll see if it matters or not, but good siege micro here. It also is partially on Lux to call you out for it, so now you know, right? This is a good fight in the middle for Lux. I mean, the Teuton Paladins did go in and snipe some of the siege. There's so much military here from Lux. I mean, that is the nice thing about Lux's macro. With 88 on resources, he's able to produce a lot more. Darkflame a little struggling here. And, yeah, these stone walls ain't it, champ, unfortunately. Did tell you later and you deleted them? Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. That wall did nothing? Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, I'll at least bring it up to the other admins and be like, hey, we need to remind the lower divisions not to stonewall, because that is an easy thing to forget when you're, like, not very experienced. Hello, Chef. How are you tonight? We're casting some Tarnished Deathmatch. We have Division 15. We have Lux or Core Dumpy playing the Darkflame. And we see a lot of Celt Paladins, which is not something you usually see. And this one Candy Galleon getting some good values. Taking out this castle slowly but surely. I would love to see a few more Candy Galleons out of Lux, because one is very slow at doing this, but if you had 2 or 3, it would be taken down pretty quickly, and villagers repairing just in time. But all the action is happening here, and I mean, the Teuton units are just so much stronger than the Celt units. Celts really need mass halberdiers and siege. I mean, now that we're seeing more and more siege from Lux, though, it is going to be problematic. But it does rely on quite a bit of siege micro. Landing some good shots, taking out a lot of the paladins, but paladins should be able to take out a lot of the siege, killing their own trebs. And killing a lot of their own. This is the problem with playing siege civilizations at lower divisions, is it is so hard to micro siege. I try to avoid it. More walled here. It's not just lower divisions. Yeah, it's people who aren't the most familiar with DM. And it's one of those things where it's like, we could turn off stone wall. I think we've disabled gates entirely. We could disable stone walls, but you need them for the quick walls, right? So it's a little bit of a weird, murky area. That's not super murky, but can be hard to remember because you can use them in certain spots and certain spots you can't, right? So, but big kind of army trades in the middle, both players collecting resources in the middle. So, like the expansions, farm space in the middle is not where you want to be doing farm space. But this macro from Lux, just stellar. Neither player really thinking about the top side either. Yeah, the macro from Lux is really good. Making more and more, we'd love to see this, all the food eco. To continue producing all the Celt Hussars. Just spam halberdiers. You need nothing but halberdiers here. And now we see some Navy from Darkflame as well. Cleaned up that one cannon galleon, sending them forward. Could take out the docks, but the castles kind of do stand guard. And, I mean, you can at least stand guard and protect this crossing and prevent any expansions to the north side. So we'd like to see a little bit of water play. Hussars going in for raids. I love to see this. The middle is a bit of a standstill. Well, actually, Lux is starting to win quite a bit. But if you think you have some extra raiding units, you can definitely send them in to go and raid a little bit, especially with how slow those Teutons are. And we have more stone walls, which hopefully Lux mentions it briefly soon. But big fight in the middle. And Lux is winning this fight pretty handedly. The Celt military, very strong. And I think the biggest problem here is Darkflame just doesn't have the eco. It's starting to get 37 on gold. He's going to start being able to produce some units. And be able to fund his army. But it is tough to keep the military going and take good engagements. Especially against Celts who have castle and siege nearby. Strategically letting Dark waste more stone before telling him to delete. True. And now Lux is taking over that monument to get that extra pop space. 25 pop space can go a long way. Neither player are really exploring in the north side. Fires trying to take out the docks. There's a cannon galleon, a poor Celt cannon galleon. Getting destroyed here by the fires. Galleons coming out to deal with them. But all the actions in the middle, there's a massive army from the Celts. Going over that 200 pop space. Darkflame not able to pop cap otherwise. And there's the Hey No Walls. Luckily there's an opening. Yeah, walls are just too strong in DM. It makes the game way too slow. We'll see if I mean, all the focus is in the middle. I'm sure Dark will respond shortly. ETKs will take a really good fight here. Yeah, no walls, no towers. Doesn't have a shift delete all, but is deleting quite a bit. You still don't want to leave them up like this, because that can create choke points, but, you know, at least Dark's aware now. ETK is doing a really good fight here. Going forward, both players kind of traded their castles here. And the ETK is going to do really good here. Deleting in between micro, right? Now the Onagers come here, though, and they're going to land some decent shots. Trying to snipe the bomber cannons. And the Wodes will do pretty good about sniping these bomber cannons if Dark isn't paying too much attention. Those Wodes are very fast and quite strong. The extra armor on the siege, though, is huge. Teutons get the extra +4 melee armor. So 6 melee armor on those are really good. Single wall pieces are allowed. For the use of quick walling, to create artificial choke points like this, we probably wouldn't allow, right? Like, if this was done intentionally, I would say I would have problems with that. So, That's my opinion. I don't know what the full ruling is, but I think the handbook says that quick wall, like stone walls, are only used for building production building, like to protect your villagers for a quick wall. So all those EDKs have kind of gotten neutered by all the siege and the woads. The constant production from Lux is kind of taking its toll. Though Dark is also roughly at the same military. The problem is Lux, once again, has the macro. Starting to expand on the north side with TCs. And Dark struggling. The Rams making sure that no walls stay alive. Cannon Galleon's not helping out. I'm surprised they aren't attacking the walls, at least. But Rams just standing idly by, but here come the Halberdiers. Plus, building these random walls can draw aggro from stuff like Rams in castles, or Cannon Galleons. So it can make kind of like, it requires your opponent to have more micro. So it just shouldn't be allowed necessarily. So that's kind of why. But I mean, Dark is pushing really well in this middle area, knocking his opponent off of gold, knocking us out of resources. Might want to update the handbook. Yeah, I think it should be fine. At least like Dark realized it and just deleted right away. If he had a shift delete, it'd be a different story. But it's good enough. He's not walling anymore, and he knows better now, so it's all good. Yeah, these castles, very nice. I think more TCs and more production eco over here would be really nice. Again, Dark is struggling on the macro side, but doing really well on the military side. It's really a game between macro and micro. I think Dark's military control is stronger. Granted, the Teutons are easier to control than the Celts. But the macro from Lux is just so good, so problematic. And now he's expanding to the north side for all these juicy, juicy woodlines. And I think Lux going for Celt Paladins is just a massive mistake. That's so much resources lost. It gives the Halberdiers and the Teutons something to do. And just not a good way of spending your gold. So, especially now that you're knocked off the gold in the middle. Andre gonna land a shot. Actually, a really juicy shot. Could get another shot off here. But unfortunately runs back to the castle. And that siege is gonna survive, surprisingly. So ThDarkFlame going to have to deal with these woads and the siege. So decent siege micro from Lux. Not the best, but he is getting some shots off. And this is where you could add maybe a monk or two. I always like to add a monk just when there's like these standoffs, just to give a little bit of extra healing, get a little bit of extra value out of your units. But it's not necessary. Hussar is going to be a much better choice than the Paladins, simply because they don't cost gold, and they die just as easily. But the woad's going to run past and kill the bombard cannons. And that is the problem. If you don't have a massive amount of military, it's hard to deal with these fast woads. No, there's no Scorps. Surprisingly. Oh, these Halberdiers just on stand ground. And the siege onagers wiping them out easily. It's a lot of dead Halberdiers. They could have gone in and raided. And now the force of Lux is ready to move forward. He has the Hall. He has the eco on the north side. No one's collected relics yet. But relics are often forgotten. More castles going up. I don't hate it. Ironclad castle's really strong. I mean, I like that castle location better because it was on a hill. You really want your castles to be on a hill. Granted, this is closer, but I don't know, that hill spot was very nice at first. Also, I was going to try to run in and try to snipe this bomber cannon. Instead, they're going to go for the villagers. Good find from Lux. And that's the other problem, is your castle's too far forward, your opponent will see it and be able to snipe your villagers. And I think he's going to be able to get a bunch of them, but doesn't stop the castle entirely. And those onagers just going forward, unafraid, killing a lot of units, and now the Trebs from the Celts are going to do a lot of damage against this castle. How many Trebs is that? 6 Trebs? All in one spot. A bomber cannon shot would just destroy this. That castle goes down. This is very dangerous to clump all your Trebs in one shot. Luckily, he's not going to get punished for this, but if that bomber cannon landed one shot, it would have been a hero bomber cannon. Plus, that's the other problem, is like, Trebs are on a hill against a castle that you purposely put on the downhill. So then the Trebs just do even more damage. And you don't want to give the Celts Trebs even more damage, right? So, This is looking very dangerous from Lux. Lux deciding to mass up massively. Has lost some pop space, and it's hard to tell that you've lost pop space when you're already over because of the hull. So he could have an extra 20 pop space here, but he's going to start moving forward, try to go forward with these Rams and the Trebs and Siege. Kelp Paladin, once again, not really what you want to be sending into the Teutons, but is going to do the job here because it's just the massively overwhelming military numbers. One Ram going forward on its own, trying to find the perfect engagement, and at this point, at least you're just sending the Trebs in and waiting for your opponent to try to engage. Paladin's going to go and try to snipe some of these Siege, maybe. Yeah, snipe the Bombard Cannons, take out some of the units. I mean, the Siege was left unprotected. The Woads are here to help protect this, but the Paladins can run back, and the castle does go down. And now this is going to be dangerous. The Woads going to come forward, and the Woads not going to be the best against the ETKs. But with how much military that Lux has here, I think it should be fine. Once you add in the Kelp Paladins, as weak as they are, will be doing pretty decently with the Woad support, sniping the Bomber Cannons. A lot of Trebs did go down. But there's military numbers from Lux overwhelm Darkflame. And Darkflame is going to be pushed off this area. The Paladins could go and snipe some of the Siege. Taking out the Woodline. Trying to escape. And now the Rams come forward, supporting with the Trebs. And all the military. ETKs are strong, but not when there's only a few of them against a massive Celt army. Now the Rams are here. The Rams are unprotected, though. Need a bit more military to go forward with them. But with how fast they're going to be doing damage, plus how fast the Trebs fire, it should be more than enough. We stopped making villas too early? Yeah. You want to be hitting about 100 villagers. 120 even. Paladin's going to be able to snipe a few Trebs here. Well, the Halberdiers are here to protect, so Lux doing a pretty good job protecting his Siege. Which, as a Celt, is what you really need to, but does lose almost all of his Trebs. But now the Rams can push forward. We have a Monastery up north, so Darkflame is thinking about grabbing the relics. Love to see the eco expansion up there as well. But this is a solid game so far. Very nice back and forth. Problem is Dark has trouble keeping his military numbers up. Doesn't have a lot on wood. Has sent villagers up north to get a lumber camp, so we'd like to see that. And Lux realizes that and sends the Hussars up north. What a play by Lux. Finding out if your opponent has gone for any sort of expansion over here. And going to find some Hussars, maybe? No, they're just going to run past. We do have relics coming in. Dark didn't soak up all the gold? Yeah. Unfortunately. It's one of the problems of having low eco numbers. If he had fully popped out eco, he probably could have hoovered up all this gold and been in a better position. Now the Rams are uncontested. Dark just doesn't have the resources to make a lot. He's not getting raided, luckily, and he has a pop space. He has a pop thing now. And also going for the relics for Lux. Both players realizing as late as this game is going, relics are going to be important. Granted, Otter has some strong words about where you keep your relics. Both of these relics are pretty exposed, so you don't really want them to be there. It's better to bring them back to your base, which is harder to kind of raid or anything. But big fight in the middle. Kelp Paladins, pretty uncontested here. Woads supporting, Trebs going forward. And so long as the Siege doesn't kill your own units, Lux should be able to bring this one home. Auto Scouts. I mean, I think he queued them over here and just didn't actually check the area, right? Monk trying to convert a Galleon. Unfortunately, the Celts do have Heresy. That's why conversions aren't as strong in DM, because everyone has, a lot of civs have Heresy. And one last ride for Darkflame as the military attempts to start sieging. The Rams are being kept back. I don't think that's necessarily needed. He's going to lose some Trebs here. I think you just push forward here. Woads chasing down the Halberdiers. And yeah, you can just send the Rams forward. Even if you lose a few, you have gold access again. You have the relics. You should be good. And now the Hussars come forward to raid the Woodline, and this should spell the end of Darkflame. Darkflame does have a nice bank. He just needs to make his units. I think he's a little bit overwhelmed here. Doesn't know what units to make. Can't make enough of them fast enough. He's trying to make ETKs. And just doesn't have the food eco either. Toons do get the really cheap farms, but need a lot of villagers to be able to produce out of them. So that is why you want 100 vills or so. Like 61 farms, you can make hussars for days. You can make halberdiers non-stop. Maybe some more on wood for Lux would be nice. But getting a massive amount of farms is what you need for the mid to late game. And I mean, Dark is taking decent engagements here. Not a lot of raids going on. These hussars are going to come in and do some damage, hopefully. But now the siege starts to roll forward. Military wode's starting to roll forward. I mean, Lux could just pump out 80 hussars right now and win the game. And just send them all into the eco. Lux is also very cautious with his rams, which is fair. ETKs can melt the rams, but as long as you send your military forward with them, they should be doing fine, right? ETKs beat wodes straight up, but like, oh no, not the attack ground, not the attack ground. Oh no, the wodes. Okay. You just have the numbers advantage here, so you just kind of take this fight whenever. Paladins are going to come through and try to snipe the siege. Is going to get sniped. I think, yeah, Lux is just playing this so passively. You can send them forward. I mean, no need to lose a lost position, right? But these rams have done nothing. They should be sent forward. They're just accruing in value. Or depreciating in value, actually. And yeah, crenellations is a pain to deal with. So Trebs do set up, and they should be able to start taking out this castle. And of course, Toon Castle's having a lot of HP. Right? No. No, they don't. But, you know. Should go down. Some nice siege micro here, trying to take out the ETKs. ETKs trying to maybe try to deal with the Trebs. But nothing coming. Now we see the Hussars, the Paladin spam up north. So many Celt Paladins. I'm excited to see how many Celt Paladins were made. It's got to be a record for a non-Mitchy game. I mean, that is one way to spend your gold. And yeah, Lux, very good at macroing, fully hoovering up all this gold in the middle, and now the Paladins are going for raids, and the villager and eco count of Dark is dwindling. Military only at 26. The Rams still not doing anything, just collecting a paycheck. But you just send the Rams in, don't worry if they die or not, you can always make more. And Lux just not too sure how to close out the game. But these Paladins in the back should do a pretty solid job of taking out this TC. With Crenellation's castle, does not reach them, surprisingly. Horde castle, get on my game kind of castle, is a nice place. Just kind of secures his foothold, allows you to range this castle to Trebs with a little bit more production. And TC does go down, villagers did evacuate, but Dark is kind of out of options, out of resources, doesn't want to quit quite yet. Now the Trebs come forward. And you just send all your army forward. There's no reason to wait this long. Especially because these ETKs are going to be able to engage onto the siege on the Trebs. Yeah, at this point you just patrol your whole army forward. And you should be fine. Does snipe the castle. The castle doesn't go up. We'll need more villagers to come forward. But yeah, Lux is playing this just way too slow. You can send the Rams forward. They have so much health, right? And they can just take out all this production. They attack so fast. And Dark calls the GG. Lux takes game number 4. The Rams, I don't think, did anything. Well played by both. Yeah, that was a fantastic game. Both players had moments where they shined really well. I think, again, the biggest problem Dark had here was military production and eco. And Celts are Celts, yeah. The siege from Celts are just so strong. I think ThDarkFlame did really well in the middle of the game. 280 Celt Paladins. Oof. That's brutal. Yeah, and Siege. That was the other thing. Adding Trebs, like I know I'd fall into that trap all the time. Bomber cannons are so good, but you need Trebs to really push buildings. Bomber cannons are good, but not the best at that, right? So that's kind of one of the big traps of DM is relying only on bomber cannons. When in reality you need Trebs and bomber cannons. Bomber cannons are better for like helping with siege and stuff like that, but also more so to snipe opponents' onagers and trebs, right? You kind of view the bomber cannons as a counter siege unit that also can help with siege push. You just don't want to use bomber cannons too much against Teutons because of crenellations. So, let's get into our final game, and that's going to be Akare. And I'm excited to see how they play on Akare, if maybe Lux has practiced the opening. But it would be great to see a 3-2. Though I wouldn't be surprised. Last one was bad. No, hey, no spoilers, Dark. No spoilers. Akare is also difficult to play, right? So Akare is a tough one because of the unique unit, making the opening a little bit different, where you need to go and rush the castles, and then you don't build houses because you don't need them because the castles give you 40 pop space, so you just build production buildings right away. I assume it's going to be Sicilians. I hope it's not Burgundians. Though I guess like Burgundians on Akare, you get the Coustiers right at the start. So that's not the worst, but Burgundians are just bad. Saracens or Dravidians? I mean, I know Lucky's rooting for the Dravidians. So, but I'm expecting Saracens because Mamelukes and Camels and Siege and all that. So I'll guess Saracens into Sicilians. Love your Sicilians? Yeah, they're tough to play. You need to be good about making sure you spread out the donjons and go slowly, and also Siege. But all right, let's get into the last game. That way I can go and maybe get a little bit of work done, or I'll get an early bedtime, right? So, final game. We have game 5 between Lux and Darkflame for Division 15. We have the Saracens from Lux and the Burgundians from Darkflame. Thought Cora was a knower. We'll see. Gets one of the castles, I think, by accident. Nope, sends a villager up north to grab the other castle. And does grab that castle. Does Dark realize it? Oh no. Oh no. Get there. Get there. Who's gonna get there first? Oh no. Disaster. Disaster. Lux gets the third castle. And that is detrimental. And Dark doesn't know what to do. Makes Coustiers. You gotta make 2 petards first and then break them out. Villagers trying to figure out what to do. And once again, the opening, a little bit tough to figure out. So hopefully next time it'll be better. But you can see the opening from Lux looking pretty clean. We have petards from Lux. Just not the most practiced and didn't send them out immediately. The Mamluks coming out. See Dark's playing like Div 1 already, right? We have Paladins from the Burgundians. And the villagers building too far away from the TC so these Hussar can swoop in and snipe them. Enough Paladins are here in defense, though. And we have early docks from Lux. So Lux thinking about playing that water. And now the Camels go forward. Again, Camels could have gone forward a lot earlier. Coustier is not even attacking the walls. Castle not attacking the walls. These Coustiers need to break out. And the Mamluks are free. And with your open being so exposed, these villagers could die. Mamluks going to go and snipe this bomber cannon. They're going to snipe some villagers. And this is going to be a quick one. Camels into Paladins, finally attacking on this north castle. But getting that extra castle bonus, getting all this military, it's going to be a rough one for Darkflame. Villagers do hop into the TCs, but Camel's going to do so well here. Saracen's Camel bonus is extra HP, which makes raiding even better with them. I mean, they are going to get cleaned up by the Paladins, which, like, Burgundian Paladins are... Do we have any bonus to that? No. That's another problem with Burgundians, is all their upgrades are for RM aging up. But Civ Lost 2, Lux's draft is way above his division level. Yeah. Lux's draft was a draft from someone who has watched a lot of other people cast DM, which is a very important skill to have, right? Knowing what to draft is a way to get a step up, or at least not be at a disadvantage from the start. So, camel civs are kind of just like the easy day one civ to go for. Camels and elephants are very straightforward plans that lower divs like mine can go for. So we have Custiers, we have Mamelukes, we have camels, and now the base of Darkflame is overrun. Some villagers are trying to build some houses in the back, but this is not looking great. TC will fall shortly, and Lux takes it in 4. So well done from both players. I think they both played well above their division. There is, yeah, Dark building houses with no army. That is funny. Like I said, it was Dark's first time playing Deathmatch. I think maybe he said he had like 1 or 2 games before. So you can't fault him too much for playing almost no Deathmatch. He looked really good. There's a lot that he can improve on, and I think he's going to. He's been talking in chat and hopefully watching. Maybe he left, but if he didn't, hopefully a lot of this stuff will help out. Way closer than the score shows. Yeah, absolutely. I think the majority of these wins came from Lux's macro. And I think that's something that's hard to teach. But you're still here? Excellent. Yeah, it was just Lux's macro was on another level. That is insane macro, especially for Div 15. I struggle. I'm in Div 13 and I struggle with that kind of macro. So Gibraltar's happy to play with you. Gibraltar's pretty solid. Yeah, and it's like you can always ask in the Looking for Games channel. A lot of people like to play. A lot of people look for practice. And yeah, again, just practice the opening and you're going to be a lot better. You're going to make sure to get your eco up and continue to produce out of your buildings. And it's going to go a lot stronger. And then there's just small things you'll learn elsewhere, like the castle starts. It's kind of weird if you're not familiar with it. You got to go two petards early on usually, but yeah, that was a fantastic set for for Division 15. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting that high of gameplay. So that was very well done from both players. Both players, if they keep at it, like I think Lucky said, they're going to be playing at a division level, like 11 level soon. They both looked like they knew what they were doing, or at least they looked like they would be able to know what they're doing very well. So I'm excited to watch another Darkflame game set in the future because I have to imagine after this set, it's going to be night and day. So GG's, and thanks for playing this fantastic set. I'm going to call it here. It is almost midnight, and I'm going to try to go to bed early so I can actually get up early tomorrow and actually do something in the morning for once. Because my schedule is shit. But, I mean, and not to say nothing, Dark did take a game. My first set, I went 0-5. So Dark's already doing better than me. He took a game. I did manage to win my second set. I will spoil that. But Dark got a game. And it was a well-earned game. It was a hyper random where, like, granted he had the civ advantage, but you play that one so well. So very well done from both players. It is like, here's the truth. I enjoy casting the top level DM. It's great to see. What I enjoy more, and this is partially because Age of Empires is a super old game, just like Super Smash Bros. Melee, there's a few things I enjoy more in this world than seeing new players get better. And so seeing new players who have never really touched DM show up and have the good foundations and say that they're going to try to get better is fucking fantastic. It's one of the reasons I enjoy adminning so much, is getting to see people discover the passion that I have. Granted, I don't have as much passion for Age of Empires as I do for Smash Bros, but it's a lot easier to admin for Age of Empires. But still, it is, yeah, I'm glad you decided to try out the Deathmatch tournament. And I hope you stick with it, and I hope it sounds like you're not discouraged. I mean, also you didn't go 0-5, so it sounds like you're going to be willing to practice and try some stuff out. So I look forward to seeing